NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
Welcome to NewsBiscuit, the UK's original fake news. NewsBiscuit, the last refuge of a scoundrel. I'm your host, Wrenfoe, and I'm joined by the remaining members of NATO. Kit Caboodle.
Hi.
Ron Cawleyoni.
Hello.
Stanley Mizaru. I'm pronouncing that wrong every time, aren't I? Stanley Mizaru. Is that right?
I think so. Hello.
You're not sure? Oh, well, I feel much better. I thought at one stage, I thought I might be being culturally insensitive by mispronouncing your name. But if you don't know what it is, then fuck it. And Paul L.
Hello. I just get my cock. Sorry, go on.
You're going to get your cock out, did you say?
Start as we mean to go on.
Yeah.
I'm just getting a coffee.
Coffee. Thank God for that. It's not your normal Zoom meeting. This is a different one, Paul.
Yeah, sorry, I've got very confused. It's a Saturday night. Usually it's my OnlyFans, but that's an hour later. So.
Yeah, go grab a coffee if you need to grab a coffee. Absolutely.
I'll be in 2 seconds.
This month, Storm Eunice sweeps through Europe faster than a platoon of Russian tanks. And we ask, World War III, is that the new Brexit dividend? So that brings us to our first round, News in Brief, where our panelists select their favourite headlines.
Public advised to say a little prayer as Storm Franklin approaches.
Hey.
I like that one.
Did any of us lose anything in particular in the storm?
Two tiles.
I think
Not two times. Two tiles.
Two tiles. I was thinking so two children. I thought, oh, that's terrible. If you fed them all, they wouldn't be so light and they wouldn't get it. We've got fake grass in our front lawn and we looked out in the morning. It had gone. It completely flipped over. I'm looking out going, someone's stolen our grass. What was initially a beautiful green vista was just brown. You usually gain in storms, I find. Isn't that the joke about sort of everyone gains a trampoline?
I gained a child.
Ron's kids. They're confused but happy.
Pardon me.
Antique bottle of Tipex becomes corrector's item.
Oh.
Sadiq Khan gets dick out. Russian soldiers who entered Ukraine were just fetching their ball, says Kremlin. Although that is less thingy now that they're just there. They're not returning, are they? So
yeah, no, they're staying for the full game of football, or whatever it was, or going from house to house looking for additional footballs.
Yeah,
is what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting to have a NewsBiscuit episode where news is unfolding in front of us. I thought it was going to be a slow news month, and then I phoned my friends in the Kremlin and said, "Could you put on something for us?" And they've obliged. I mean, I do like the fact that all the news outlets, though, are having to sort of apologise on all the video footage that they're showing at the moment. Because apparently all they've done is they've gone into the archive and pulled footage from movies and computer games and have been passing it off as real footage,
really?
Which is brilliant. Yes. The BBC had to do a whole list of kind of, this isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not to say that things aren't happening in Ukraine. They clearly are. But I think there aren't that many reporters actually on the ground reporting stuff. There's a lot of kind of crazy fake news rattling around, which is unfortunate for us because that's usually the space that we occupy on the internet.
The most oddest thing I've had was Ronan Keating explaining the Ukraine crisis on the One Show. Odd, which I never thought would happen. But
well, out of Boyz, he was always the one who had his finger on the pulse of military matters in Europe. The other lads in the band, they were sort of Middle East experts.
Yeah, that's very true.
It was Ronan who was always, Do you think it was one of those things where they'd actually run out of material or something hadn't happened and someone in his ear was just go, can you fill for us for a minute? Can you fill for a couple of minutes on expert analysis on what's going on in Ukraine? He just breaks into a cover version from Cat Stevens.
Are they going to send Giles Brandreth next week?
They should.
That would ratchet up the tension, I feel. That's just going to force both sides into a standoff where they're just, let's both shoot him. No, I will. And a lot of people have kind of commented on the internet, on Twitch and things, that now everyone has moved from being an expert on COVID to suddenly an expert on the Ukraine. And it's odd. I didn't cover any of those things in my degree, and yet I'm willing to state opinions. I did drama.
Man whose penis froze during Olympics, weirdly proud. He said, yes, it was agonising, despite the stiff competition. Mr. Lindholm's doctor commented, Mr. Lindholm has real cojones. It's just unusual that I could use them as clackers.
Technically, they're ice cubes now. So his penis froze. I mean, was it just, did he forget to zip it up? Was it just kind of floating around sort of? So what do you do when it's frozen? I mean, do you have to sort of dip it in hot water, warm water for a while, or?
I don't know, Ren.
Well, I'm concerned.
Lucky you were the medic on site, though.
I have done first aid. But I'll be honest, we did not cover what to do to warm up a penis. That was a very different course.
I think what you have to do, Ren, is you have to look at a picture of Van Widdicombe and it will slowly start to thaw.
No, hold on, Rod. Thawing implies an increase in passion, surely.
That's what he means.
Meltdown. Meltdown.
Right. Okay, each their own.
Government denies cost cutting as it launches pre-loved lateral flow kits and PPE.
What pre-loved? Is that the phrase that's used on sort of eBay and stuff, so that it's already been used? Is pre-loved?
Oh, yeah. I think there's a website called Pre-Loved.
But it's not used in an act of love.
Well, maybe we can talk to the skier. Maybe.
Yeah. That's very unsanitary. I don't want that. I don't want anything that's been pre-loved. Sloppy seconds. Right. Okay.
Incompetents to be inducted as fifth horseman of the apocalypse. The four existing horsemen are united in welcoming incompetence to the team and are looking forward to accelerating delivery of the coming apocalypse in line with their 5-year strategy.
Yeah, incompetence does seem much more in keeping with the 21st century. Yeah, I mean, that might actually save us when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, is just an outbreak of general incompetence.
Got tanks that have broken down on the side of the road because they've run out of fuel. The Russian tanks have. So I think we're already there.
What? Have we?
Really?
Hold on. Fuel's the one thing they've got, isn't it?
No, it's great. There's a video of a Ukrainian man asking them if they want a lift back to Russia.
Excellent, Trolley.
It's really...
What else, Kit?
Breaking news. Sir Keir Starmer killed Bambi's mother and stole Christmas, claims Johnson.
Because usually with leading politicians, there's kind of a gentleman's agreement as such that you won't use, real big dirt on each other, because the reality is the other person could fling stuff at you, no matter, the same kind of stuff. But Boris Johnson has that look of desperation in his eye, hasn't he? Of someone who's drinking in the last chance saloon. So he's going to just hurl any insult he can. He's kind of haymaking, kind of swinging his arms wildly on the off chance that he's going to catch Starmer. Of course he won't, because Starmer's notoriously short. Although he keeps putting out tweets to say that he's 5'8", and that's really tall. The Labour Party keep putting out tweets about it. You go, why keep saying it?
Fears go for COVID after it is infected by Lawrence Fox.
Lawrence Fox has got COVID, has he? Well, that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? He wanted COVID, didn't he? I thought that was his gist.
I think his thing was kind of complicated because it was both it doesn't exist and also I want to get it so that I'm a strong human. I don't know.
I just think he's the living embodiment of every man who's gone through a bad divorce.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever got over Billy Piper. I think all of his white pride, strange nationalistic kind of fervor is just linked to kind of low self-esteem and the fact that he can only see his kids in the park once a fortnight. I think that's what it is. Sorry, Lawrence, if you're listening, but
and he is.
Sorry to Lawrence Fox.
Yeah, he needs help. It's a cry for help. Surely his entire career is a cry for help. And yeah, I like the fact that everyone keeps giving him a platform. He's invited back onto chat shows to sing and to talk about his stuff. It's almost like people are egging him on to a suicide. It's that kind of, it's cynical. It's absolutely cynical because nobody takes him seriously except him. Yeah, I think they're just pushing him to the edge. You heard it here first, folks. NewsBiscuit predicted Lawrence dying of auto-asphyxiation with an orange. Right. Kid's face is horrified. What?
It's been a long Saturday, hasn't it?
Yes, and I'm not going to put any of this in the final cut. I can say I wanted to marry Billy Piper, and Lawrence stole her from.
Oh, now we're getting it.
That's the real truth. Ron, what have you got?
Russian grandfather wins Olympic medal after mix-up with granddaughter's drugs. And a bat out of hell goes to heaven. Meatloaf last month, passing away of Meatloaf. But I thought this was very neat and concise and, respectful, but, funny at the same time. Bat out of hell goes to heaven.
Respectful and funny. Yeah, that's what we go for on NewsBiscuit. We fall short on both of those so often. When I was a kid, I was about 7. The only time I went ice skating, and there was a sort of DJ doing the music, and he was inviting people up, and you could announce the song that you pick a song, and he'd play it. And I went up there, and I'm 7 or whatever, and he tells me, "You're going to do Meatloaf," and I was so outraged that when I got up and I had the microphone, I had to announce that it was a Meatloaf song. I announced it as Breadloaf just to get my revenge. And even at 7, I thought I was striking a blow against the man. I felt very cheated. Yeah, you can make you can choose anything you like. Brilliant. No, you can't. A bit like democracy in that regard. Right.
And finally, this is the best one, I think, you know what I mean? GB News reschedules its TV shows. After talking pints with Nigel Farage, it's talking shite with Nigel Farage.
Aristocrats all want COVID, now the Queen has it. Local news reporter needlessly out in storm.
Yes, that is the beauty of it. That's the only upside of every storm, is that although your house may be destroyed, Ron's children may be thrown hundreds of miles across the country, nevertheless, the one joyous thing is tuning into the news and watching some poor local news reporter being battered by the seafront where nobody else is. They send them right into the eye of the storm, don't they? There's no sense of health and safety checks. It's just simply, good luck, Jerry. We may never see you again. Right. And they have got that look on their face, haven't they? That kind of, that sort of, this could be my last days on Earth. Why do they do that? Why do they send reporters out into storms?
I think it was before. It was for Dennis Norden's laughter fire, wasn't it? So they could have that for him. But now that's not on. I don't know.
It's this weird thing about the assumption that the audience has so little imagination that we can't visualize a storm unless we see someone dying in it. I notice they're not quite as brave when it comes to Ukrainian wars. If anything, I'm seeing a lot of green screen at the moment.
I didn't think that was a thing. Now I'm doubting everything I'm seeing now.
Ukraine bitterly regrets building such interesting churches. And then lastly, we have to learn to live with World War III, Boris says. Deaths from World War, their lowest level for 70 years.
Yes, there's an upside, isn't there? And I think Boris would put a very positive spin on World War III. He's the guy you want leading you into a war, not because he's going to be competent, but he's just going to be so upbeat about the fact that we would be dying. Right. Oh, yes. Excellent. All this radiation. All free. Free radiation for everyone. Hurrah. COVID, don't even worry about that anymore. The bullets, that'll get you. Our next round is True Biscuit, where our panel has to guess which is a real headline and which is a fake one.
Vladimir Putin hires boys to men to boost the Russian birth rate.
What? So, what?
Lie.
Okay. Boyz II Men, that was a popular beat combo from the
90s. Cooley High Harmony was their big album. Very good album.
Paul's revealing a little bit too much there.
It's a very good album. End of the Road. End of the Road is their big hit.
End of the Road is where you are with NewsBiscuit now, mate.
There's nothing wrong with liking Boyz II Men.
They're good.
See, you can say that statement, but when I say it, it just comes across as creepy, Kit.
You'd be sat in a pub Ren somewhere. There's nothing wrong with Boyz II Men.
But is Putin a fan of Boyz II Men?
Well, it's going back a bit. It's 2013.
Oh, well, that was fine. That makes sense then. Yeah, 2013. 2013, all the world leaders were into Boyz II Men. Yeah, you should have said that. Yeah.
And it was part of his plan to boost the country's birth rate because children were key to Russia's internal security, apparently.
So are Boyz II Men, are they going to be tasked with impregnating the whole of the nation? Or are we supposed to listen to the music and that gets us in a kind of sexy place that Paul obviously listens to the album?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the latter rather than the former. They were hired to do a gig in Moscow just before Valentine's Day.
But just one gig.
Yeah.
So off the bat,
That's how powerful they are.
Such is their sexual potency. Just one night of listening to their music will enable you to maintain an erection for the next 10 years.
I believe that.
Are you believing that, Paul, or are you living that?
Can it be both?
Wow. What do they attribute the dropping birth rates to? A lack of smooth R&B, or
yeah, there was no homegrown Russian R&B. It was just a terrible period for the country.
For
Russia, the 20th century, their bleakest time was.
Why?
Absolutely true. Well, I wasn't sure until he said it was 2013, and then I thought, no, absolutely, that sounds, because there was that huge boom that happened after
it was a crazy year. We all did things that we regret. Paul, you're the resident expert on on the sexual frissons that come with Boyz II Men.
Well, knowing them as I do, I'm going to have to say it's true because.
Yeah, in fact, even mentioning it now, I can see in your face. You're good to go again, aren't you? I can see it. There's a passion. If you need to log off now.
Watch out, Russia.
But I think true.
So it actually should that be what the Ukraine does? Should they just blast Boyz II Men music at the front line, and all of the Russian soldiers, all geared for fighting, was they go, no, we want to make love, and they would just like start rolling around erotically with that? No, does that not happen? Is that just in my mind? Is that a thing?
Maybe in your mind.
Maybe in my mind. Make love, not war. I think if you're going to take anything from this podcast, it's that.
A bit late now.
It's a bit late now, did Rod say? Oh, okay.
Surprisingly, it's true.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Last year, a zoo near Stoke-on-Trent hired a Marvin Gaye impersonator to encourage their rare monkeys to mate. So there may be something in it.
Actually, what's interesting is that monkeys have a much better taste in music than the people of Russia. That's what I'm getting from that.
Oh, come on, Ren.
Sorry, Paul. I forgot you're their manager.
Ren, you sound like a daydream believer.
How weird that it's a true story. So Putin was a much more relaxed and groovy and free love kind of guy only a handful of years ago. What changed him? What made him so bitter? He's like Lawrence Fox. Has he gone through a messy divorce?
Is he married, Putin? I suppose he is.
Look at Paul, you animal. Just because we talked about Boyz II Men already, you're looking for your next sexual conquest. Is he married? Thank God there's NATO and several other nations between you and the warm arms of Vladimir Putin.
It won't stop me. It won't stop me.
Change him.
It will change one of them, Kit. I'm not sure who. Kit, what have you got?
Hull couple demand comedy refund because war has made journey to Blackpool unsafe.
Because war has made the journey to Blackpool unsafe.
Yeah.
What inside information have they got about the war that we should be worried about?
They live in Ukraine.
No, they live in Hull.
There's the same difference. Do they just misunderstand the route between Hull and Blackpool? Do they think it sort of crosses over eastern parts of Europe?
Yeah, they've been going via Ukraine for years to Blackpool.
It's a cheaper bus journey.
Megabus.
It's 500 hours, but it's cheaper, so they've been doing it. That'd be great.
They must think the Pennines is the Iron Curtain as they cross over from the
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't know if Blackpool is specifically covered under the NATO umbrella. Maybe it's not. Where's a safe haven if Blackpool is dangerous?
Well, I think it's that Hull, obviously being home, is safer for them. But Blackpool is just risking it far too much. They could get caught up in stray gunfire, everything.
There is a logic there because ultimately, no matter what, no matter what happens, Hull, they're absolutely right. Hull will never be invaded because who would want to do that? You just sort of stop at that point. It's like sort of Napoleon advancing on Moscow. You just reach a point where you go, it's not worth it. It's so cold. They've asked for a refund. Did they get a refund?
No, they didn't, because the employees said that was ludicrous.
But I do like the idea that, events on the other side of the world, you could just make claims on it in terms of it's like the butterfly effect. Something happens on the other side of the world and you claim for a new patio. And you're like, what? How's that connected? Well, everything's connected. Chaos theory. Is Putin going to be getting an invoice from these people? The ruined holiday. And he's going to be looking at it going, I'm pretty sure we didn't go to Hull. But how very strange.
Well, unless the Ukraine invasion is just a smokescreen and they have actually invaded Blackpool without anyone noticing, I'm going to say it's false.
Yeah, because let's be honest, has anyone checked when they invaded Ukraine? I didn't think to check on Blackpool at all. It was well down on my list of priorities. I haven't heard from anyone in Blackpool in a while.
You're saying there was going to be a false flag and it's Ukraine, that's the false flag.
Ukraine is the false flag.
Annexed Blackpool.
Annexed Blackpool. It was only a matter of time.
Difficult one, this. Blackpool being on the west coast in Lancashire, because it's not too far from fracking areas, and I think it's true. Going to need gas. Gazprom's been bombs off. Sorry about the pun. But, we could be looking to go fracking in Blackpool, round about that way. So I think it's true.
And you've just got a map out in front of you now, and you've just...
Oh, no, I'm a geographical wizard.
Yeah.
Not geopolitical, a geographical one,
I'm going false.
Oh, well, you're so skeptical of everything. What a misery. I mean, seriously.
False.
False?
Yes.
It is true.
No.
Yeah.
And it was in the Metro this morning. I told Rob that we wanted a refund, and he said he would move tickets to another date. But I do not want that, because I don't know how long this will go on for. No one knows.
Oh.
And the headline here is, local man reminisces how he once gave a member of the Monty Python team a gift at a local theatre in a small town.
That's it. That's the entire headline. Man has
It's a big
recollection.
headline, but it's a big headline, but the papers are broadsheets. So it fits on it.
So man has vague anecdote and it's made its way to the front of a newspaper.
What it is, the local roving reporter, what's her name? Lucy, what's her name? She conducted an interview with him. Lucy Watts, her name, is a married name. Her maiden name was Lucy Watts, but she married Roger her name. There's an element of truth there about it. He's a cousin of mine.
So you're claiming...
I don't know what's going on, by the way.
Yeah. So you're claiming this is that, this is a much more plausible story because I'm related to a fictitious character within it.
Well, this is what you've got to work out. That's part of the scheme. If you've not done this before, Ren.
Can I say at this point is I don't believe Ron is a real person.
Yeah.
I think Ron is a figment of my imagination, and I think I must have eaten too much cheese earlier.
Or mushrooms.
It's a mass delusion we're all experiencing here.
And I'm surprised anyone hasn't quizzed me. and which member of Monty Python it was.
I'll be honest, Ron, that wasn't the bit of the story that we thought was implausible. We are aware that Monty Python is a thing and there are people in that group. What we were questioning is the veracity of this person who you are now claiming is a fictitious relative of yours in a newspaper that defies belief. Right.
I'm really confused who Lucy is.
Don't let him go down that rabbit hole again. We'll never get out of it.
According to Lucy, what's her name, in a report, the second paragraph down, because I'm streamlining it for you now. I know we're reaching these blocking that. Okay.
I've got to edit this later. Please bear this in mind. I've got to make some sense out of this rambling piece of nonsense.
I'm trying to help you out here, Ran.
Giving me an embolism.
So the member in question was Terry Jones. He presented him to tennis span. Whether or not you believe that story, but Lucy, what's her name, is a reputable reporter in the region. You know, I'm vaguely knowing this distant relation of mine. There is some plausibility, but I could be giving it away there, couldn't I?
See, this reminds me of a student who's gone into an exam and hasn't studied. Right. But rather than just not write anything, they just go for it. It has that air of kind of rambling desperation.
Probably true. I'm sure many people have given Terry Jones the tin of spam as a gift.
Has Ron kind of broken this game now for us? Is he broken? He's broken reality. Oh well, it was a nice run while we had it.
True? I don't know. True.
Are we saying true to the story or true to Ron being a real person? Right.
I'm
okay.
not sure. I'm not sure.
Not sure.
Go on then, let's say true as well.
Like it's a bet. Yeah, go on then.
Yeah.
In for a penny. Yeah, whatever.
It was true.
Oh.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah.
Is Lucy what's her name? Is that bit true? Is that honestly that bit is true?
No, I'm only kidding on that.
Right.
Oh, dear.
That. Oh,
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, when we all wake up later. Okay, thank you for Rod. That's 10 minutes. We're never getting back again. Right. Go on then, Paul.
Okay, anti-capitalist protester starts anti-capitalist events company. This is Protest X, the world's first event management company dedicated to making sure your bid to overthrow the status quo goes without a hitch.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That's my kind of anarchy, vaguely organised and with a profit motive.
I think it's like you have to be within the system to break the system.
Said the man who spent 10 years in prison. So is it one of those things where you go on the website and you can kind of select template riots and protests that they've already kind of organised, and you just put your branding on the top of it?
So it's for people like, you know, if you're too busy, you can't fit the overthrow into your work like busy schedule. You need an events manager, as if you're planning to get married. So
you're so busy working at your job that you don't have the time to leave the job to overthrow your employer who's making you do the job. Okay, I kind of get that, and you get a planner. So
a planner,
So you just get this kind of enthusiastic individual who sort of bounds on the scene, saying, "What would you like? What color scheme would you like for the revolution?"
They would do all this for money. So,
well, why would you do it for anything other than money? I mean, if there's one thing that the overthrow of capitalism has taught me, it's that you need cash to do it. Is it just capitalism events that are looking to overthrow, or can you use them to, like, say for instance, I wanted to invade Poland or the Ukraine? Actually, say I wanted to invade the Ukraine, would these guys be able to cater for it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it seems that is something they would offer you.
And do they provide the kind of the hordes of angry people wielding pitchforks, or do you have to bring them along yourself?
No, I think there's a tier system. You can choose a tier. So tier 1 is like a few protesters. Tier 2 is more protesters. Tier 3, a whole uprising. If you've got the money.
I think I want this. I mean, I don't know if it's true or false, but I'd like to, because I've always thought about having a revolution, but I know it involves quite a lot of work and a strong ethical base, but I've got neither of those things going for me. But if I think I can just dip in and just kind of hire a revolution, that'd be great.
Go to Protest X.
Protest X. And is X just because X, you just fill in the blanks? It's whatever you want it to be.
It's actually, I don't know, it's Protest EX. So
Protest X.
Protest X. That's what Lawrence Fox has been doing all this time. Just protesting his ex. Right. Okay. Well, truths and falses then. Yeah. Paul, it's your thing, so we're not going to go to you. True or false?
Oh, it sounds very plausible, true.
Oh, well, I'm convinced about this. Looking at Paul and his demeanour and everything, the lad's got it on his face. I don't think he can tell a lie to save his life.
He has got on his face. And viewers at home who can't see it now, I just want you. I want you to visualise a kind of Disney-esque character.
Is it the crown I'm wearing?
Yes, and the fact he's naked apart from the crown. That suggests a level of innocence and naivety that none of us are quite ready for. Yes, he's just there, naked in his crown. He's the Disney princess we all want.
I'm going to say it's true, because the poor and downtrodden masses have got plenty of spare cash to throw around on things like that. So, yeah.
This is false. This is a NewsBiscuit story.
What? That's outrageous.
Well, on his face, lied to us like that.
I know.
Oh, very good. You see, not many people do the NewsBiscuit stories. I'll be honest. Most people usually bring something. But damn, that sounded.
It's in the first book. Still on sale.
I wrote that book as well. I don't remember that story at all. Right. Finally, we reached the magic 8-ball.
The magic 8-ball!
Each of our guests is going to give us their predictions for next month's news.
After the success of the recording of Imagine, celebrities to re-record John Lennon's Give Peace a Chance.
A man born in 1957 who repeatedly said, "You have no idea what the Blitz was really like," has been sent back to London 1941 using time travel. He came back shaking, crying, and saying, "I had no idea what the Blitz was really like."
You don't know what Nam was like. Well, no, neither do you. You were born in 1978.
I think there's going to be a new Sucre report to investigate claims that Downing Street staff are spotted buying suitcases of Smirnoff despite the sanctions.
Well, actually, there was a thing of Jacob Rees-Mogg, who had a lot of shares in various Russian companies.
Oh, God.
He sold them all off last month, apparently.
Oh, I saw that.
I was lucky.
Buckingham Palace are about to announce another royal wedding between the Queen. They're going to announce their engagement to the Pope.
To the Pope?
Yeah.
So, to be fair, he has been single for quite a while, hasn't he, the Pope?
I don't think Andrew in the Catholic Church is a good mix.
Well, they've got a lot of common interests.
Oh, my Lord.
We can say that now, can't we? Now that he spent £12 million to shut people up about what he's been up to, I think technically we can now say more stuff about him. We were kind of treading on eggshells around Prince Andrew, but yeah, he's fair game now, which is his motto, actually.
Oh, dear.
Sounds all right in Latin. Bit more sinister at a swingers party, right? Okay. And that brings us to the end of the episode, and I can reveal this month's winner is Storm Eunice and anyone who had shares in fence panelling. I'd like to thank our guests, Stanley, Mizaru,
Thank you.
Kit Caboodle, Ron Cawleyoni,
Goodbye.
and Paul L.
Thank you.
And I leave you with these headlines. Light duties of COVID-hit Queen will include writing checks for her second son. Masked Avengers to sue government for loss of earnings. Think about it, it's a mask thing. They're not allowed to wear masks anymore. You see, that's why you see, it's clever, but it's not funny. I think that's what we go for a lot in NewsBiscuit. They're laughing now, but not with the joke. And the final headline is this: Russian war crimes could infringe on US-UK copyright.
Clever.
You've been listening to NewsBiscuit. NewsBiscuit is not only free for all readers, but we also accept submissions from any budding satirists, young or old. Visit newsbiscuit.com to submit headline stories and to support new writers.
NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
This is gold. I mean, this is
not least of which is Ron's story. I've got to find a way of how I can keep that in the episode and there's still to be time left over for anything else. I'm going to have a little, I'll have a play with that. It may just be, in the final edit, it just maybe go, oh, Ron, oh, no, interference. Oh, he couldn't say anything. And then we just cut ahead. Yes.